Sorry.
What about product development? This is from James Goss. What about product development and engineering capabilities of Mexican companies?
Yeah, that's I saw that and I was interested in answering that to James. That the answer to that question is all over the board. It can be anything from almost no engineering capabilities or product development. Well, let's start with engineering capabilities. That can be all over the board. That can be the wild west in Mexico. I mean, you can have companies with some of the world's top engineers, because Mexico on average graduates more engineers per capita than the United States does. That's something a lot of people don't know. And it graduates some very good engineers. And a lot of the engineers in Mexican plants have worked in larger companies. They've worked in Detroit, where James is, or they've worked in the Chicago area, and they've gotten serious training from American or other international firms, or they did a semester in Germany. I used to teach at the Tec de Monterrey, where in Mexico City, where kids would almost always study at least a semester abroad when they were undergrads. So you can have some highly talented engineering teams within Mexican firms, and then you can have the opposite of just absolutely no engineering whatsoever, and then everything in between. So to answer that question, it's going to be a case by case. It's going to be a case by case basis of looking at the companies with a solid engineering staff. We try in our representation of clients, unless there are some anomalies to where we can't avoid it. We had this a couple of years ago in cabinets, but unless it's an anomaly like cabinet manufacturing, which is often a case in woodworking in general, with anything metal, plastic injection molding, things like that, you almost always want, you're almost always going to want the companies that do have the engineering capabilities. For product development, product development is almost non-existent, depending on how you're asking that question. But to give a Mexican factory a product, or you just say, and we get this inquiry a lot, and say, hey, we went to Best Buy yesterday, and I went to Best Buy and I saw X, Y, or Z. I saw a camera. I want to make this camera in Mexico. Do you think we can find a Mexican factory that could take a camera, a nice Nikon camera, and make our brand? No, that's not happening. No, I mean, it can happen, but it's not going to happen just if you meet with a Mexican factory and say, make me a camera, a high quality camera that we're going to price on the market and sell on Amazon for half the price of a Nikon or a Canon or something. No, that's not going to happen with just you sending everything over to the factory and then letting them do their magic. That is a project like that, and it doesn't just have to be electronics. It can be other products. A project like that is a heavy reverse engineering project where you would have to come up with your own drawings. We can arrange to do those in-house, or we can refer you to a couple of engineering firms in the States, or do them through piggyback off an engineering firm in Mexico City, and get intense and get detailed 3D drawing, 2D and 3D drawings done of your product line. In this case, a camera. I'm using probably the most extreme example of something with so many technical components and a high-tech electronic product, and sitting down with Mexican suppliers and helping them developing that product on your behalf. A project like that is a minimum 12 to 18 months, something like that. So product development capability is generally non-existent within Mexican factories. Although, it can happen if you're willing to just really roll up your sleeves and slug it out for a while.